What if you fell in love with someone who would forget you by morning? What if, every night, your memory erased itself, and every morning you were forced to relive the same day again and again? What if the people who love you most had to rebuild that same day over and over, just to protect you from a cruel truth that would shatter you? And then, one day, a stranger walks into your loop and falls in love with you, knowing you'll forget them tomorrow. Now they must decide, is it worth falling in love when you know you'll be forgotten every single day? This was the 300th time she celebrated her father's 52nd birthday. Every night, she would prepare the same cake and wait for her father to blow out the candles in just one blow, say the same line, and give the same gift, where her father and brother would respond in perfect sync. Then the whole family would sit down like they were following a well-rehearsed script, watching that same movie for the 300th time. Her father's eyes drooped halfway through, and her brother could now recite the lines backwards. But Lucy? She was completely absorbed, as if seeing it for the very first time, startled by the same scenes. Because for Lucy, it wasn't the 300th time, it was the first. And somehow, it always was. Then the story shifts back to a year before. On her father Marlon's 52nd birthday, they set out to the countryside to pick pineapples, just like they did every year. It was their thing. But on their way, a runaway cow burst onto the road and caused their car to crash. Lucy's father survived with broken ribs. Lucy wasn't as lucky. She suffered a severe head injury. Back in the present, every night, after Lucy falls asleep, her father and brother quietly reset her entire world because her memory erases each time she sleeps. So, to protect her from that painful truth, they recreate the day with obsessive precision. They throw away the half-eaten cake, rewrap the same gift, lay out a freshly printed copy of last year's newspaper, and return every object to its exact position, even down to the level of shower gel she used. They restore every small detail Lucy touched, making the house look exactly as it did the morning before. By sunrise, the illusion is perfect again. So each day, Lucy wakes up into the same carefully staged reality, never realizing her family has been rebuilding her life from scratch every single night just to keep her safe from a truth that would shatter her. Even the cafe owner and staff knew about Lucy's condition, so they did everything they could to protect her fragile world. They treated every visit as if it were her first. Then, one day, a man named Henry arrived and everything began to change. Henry noticed Lucy sitting alone, completely absorbed in building a tiny Waffle House on her plate. Yet she could not get the little door to stay in place. So he reached for a nearby toothpick and fixed it for her. And in response, Lucy thanked him and invited him to join her for breakfast. As their conversation unfolded, Lucy leaned in slightly and mentioned that Henry smelled familiar, like fish. Embarrassed, he quickly apologized and explained that the scent came from his job as an aquarium caretaker. Most people disliked it, but Lucy loves it. To her, the scent meant, "You are finally home safe." Since her father and brother were fishermen, that smell always reminded her that they had returned from the sea alive. Consequently, they connected instantly, as though they had known each other for years. Meanwhile, someone behind them watched with concern. Soon afterward, they reluctantly parted ways because Lucy had to rush home for her dad's birthday, as her family had a tradition of picking pineapples. But before leaving, she invites him to have breakfast with her again the next day. Henry had not felt this happy in a long time, and similarly, neither had Lucy. The following day, Henry rushed back to the cafe despite the bad weather, eager to continue where they had left off. However, to his surprise, Lucy did not recognize him at all. When he pushed further, she panicked, and consequently, the cafe staff intervened. At that point, the owner explained the truth, that after a car accident a year earlier, Lucy lost her memory every time she slept, and woke up believing it was the same Sunday. Hearing this, Henry was stunned, because while Lucy was trapped in a day she could not move beyond, he was trapped in a past he could not forget. For a brief moment, he considered how convenient it might be to date someone who would never remember him, since there would be no commitment and no consequences. He could simply walk away, and she would never even know. Yet, he could not bring himself to take advantage of her. Therefore, He decided to leave town and sail away before things grew more complicated. However, just as he prepared to depart, his newly repaired boat broke down again, as if somehow fate refused to let him escape. Then Henry chose to see Lucy one last time and return to the cafe. Initially, he attempted to recreate their first sweet moment with the Waffle House, yet this time, she responded differently and brushed him off. Undeterred, he tried again the next day, remembering that she loved art and came from a fishing family. Accordingly, he sketched a simple drawing of a father and son at sea in hopes of reaching her. Nevertheless, he did not even get the chance to explain before the moment slipped away. On the third day, he went all in and staged a scene, pretending he could not read. As expected, kind-hearted Lucy stepped in to help him, and consequently they truly connected and spent the entire morning together. Yet just before parting, Lucy says he has a bad acting skills, and shows her disappointment not because he lied, but because he never asked for her number or tried to ask her out again. Filled with regret, Henry went to her house to apologize. Instead, he encountered her father, who remained suspicious and firmly warned him to stay away. Nevertheless, for the first time in his life, Henry refused to walk away simply because things became difficult. Over the next several days, Henry devised different excuses to make Lucy stop and speak with him, whether pretending his car had broken down or later staging a fake mugging. Eventually, her father and brother caught him attempting to flag her down. But this time, rather than threatening him, they invite him home. There, Lucy's father explained that he always knew when Lucy had seen him because she sang on those days. Moreover, it was the same song her mother used to sing when she was alive. Somehow, even though Lucy forgot everything else, meeting Henry left a lasting trace in her heart. Consequently, realizing his intentions were sincere, her father and brother gradually accepted him, and in time, Henry became a trusted friend of the family. Meanwhile, one morning, Lucy repeated her routine as usual, yet unexpectedly things went wrong. Her car was ticketed outside the cafe, and she was confused because, according to her, the registration was not due to expire for another 7 months. However, the officer insisted it had already expired 5 months earlier. Then she ran to a nearby newsstand and tore open a newspaper, only to discover that far more time had passed. In a state of panic, she rushed home and found a closet filled with endless stacks of Sunday newspapers. Lucy broke down in terror. Consequently, Marlon, with a heavy heart, revealed the truth about the accident, explaining how she had fallen into a coma after their car crushed and how waking up at all had been a miracle. But Lucy insists on hearing the truth from the doctor. However, her father says she had already heard it many times over the past 300 days. At last, having accepted her misfortune, Lucy bid goodnight and returned to her room. Meanwhile, having accepted Henry, Marlon and Doug invited him for a drink, where Henry says he wants to help Lucy before he leaves the town. So, the next day, Henry brings Lucy her favorite lilies, along with a videotape. In the recording, he explained that she had missed a few things that year, but reassured her that it was all right. Furthermore, he described how she lost her memory, how they met at a cafe, and how they fell in love in a single day. He also explained that, although she would invite him to breakfast the next morning, but when tomorrow arrived, she would forget him, and consequently, he would try countless clumsy strategies just to see her again and make her fall in love with him again. Henry suggested that if Lucy watched the videotape every morning, she might live more fully and with greater understanding. Although Marlon initially had doubts, the plan eventually worked. From then on, each morning, Lucy watched the video and gradually began living more normally, at least within certain limits. In the final scene, Lucy asked Henry if he loved her. Yet, instead of answering directly, he rambled about unrelated things like winning 7 chicken wing, eating contests, and liking ballet but only dancing in the shower, anything but giving a straight answer. So, Lucy did not wait, and somehow she rose onto her toes and kissed him, and in that moment, somehow, the answer spoke for itself. With that, the movie ends. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.